Good morning. I'm Brian with the 3-Click Classroom, and today I'm going to be going through how to use and what the features are for our 3-Click Observations app. I'm excited to show this. It's brand new, and I'm going to get started right away. So here it is. Here's the app. You can see that on the main screen, we have some basic information about the observation that's happening right up here at the top in the title box. And then we have a number of timer buttons and what we call behavior buttons. So let me just start a timer right here. These are all customizable, as well as the student list, as well as the options. So everything that you see here is totally custom and can be changed. So I'm starting a timer for somebody named Theodore, and there we go. So I started that timer, and now it exists down here. You can see the count, and Theodore is currently on task doing some individual work. Okay, maybe somebody else though is a little bit off task. So I'm going to go over here to Talia, and I'm going to say that Talia is off task right now. And again, we can have as many timers as there are students and buttons. Each of those pop-up menus, again, you can set. I'm going to show you how to set those in the sheet, and we're going to just kind of work through them. Again, for behavior buttons, these are a separate color, so you kind of know that they're not timers. Let's say that Lucy has an unexpected behavior, and maybe there's a vocalization that we didn't really expect to happen in a classroom. And so there it is. And so these timers are going. I can stop any of the timers at any point. And I could just go through and I can just keep adding more data, right? Lucy now raised their hand. That's wonderful. Great. I love that that happened for them. Let's see what this looks like on the sheet end of things. How could we create these buttons and customize them? So let me jump over here to the spreadsheet that the app is based off of. Now, first off, we are going to, there we are, there's our data. Just took a moment to come through. I think my computer's a little slow while it's running this video. You can see that we have the timer there. One of them is still running. The Theodore timer is still going, so it says running, but there's the Talia off task timer. Now you'll notice that there's not a detail here for that timer. I'll show you why on the next screen, but in the end, that timer ran for 35 seconds. And then here are our behavior buttons for Lucy. There we go. We have the expected and the unexpected. For any of these, if I want to add more detail, there's a spot over here, and feel free to type as much as you want about, you know, what it was that you saw or what it was that you want to log, and all of that is going to be kept and available into the reports later. So I'm going to click over here on observation buttons. Down at the bottom of the screen, it's the observation buttons tab. And let's head over that way. So here you can see that I have the ability to set 4 different timers and 4 different additional buttons. And you can see that I had created 3 of each of those. So if I want a timer button, all I have to do here is write, what I want the timer to be called. Let's go ahead and create another one. What else could we time in a classroom? Let's put a timer on getting started with work. There we go. That would be an interesting timer. The teacher gives the instruction. All right, how long does it take for the child to attend to what they're doing? I'm not going to give it any options, and I'm just going to keep it really simple there. And now, just to show you that these are live, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to delete the expected button, and I'm going to delete all the options from that. So let's go ahead back over here. We'll end that observation, and we're going to reload the app and see if our changes take place, just to kind of show you that this is all live and this all works. So I'm going to head back over here. Let me go ahead and stop that timer. Great, we're going to see that that was sent to the sheet with a little pop-up that's going to appear right here. And then I'm going to end the observation using the end observation button. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to start a new one, but I'm actually going to refresh the page because I want to pull all that data from the back end. So let me refresh here. We'll get our little loading screen. It'll take just a moment, and all of that will come in. So welcome to the 3-Click Classroom. Alrighty, we still have 6 buttons. We can see that now 4 of them are timers, 2 of them are behavior buttons, and we can see that, you have your student list here. There we go, and no second pop-up. So now I want to show you changing an observation, because back in the sheet, you can set up as many observations as you'd like. So I'm going to change the observation here. It's going to let us know that we're going to end this session. And here are 3 other observations that are written in the sheet. So let's get Mrs. Chapel-White's observation of Sal. So I'm going to click on that, and it's going to switch over there. So we can see we have new information up here in the top row, and we have all those timers. But one thing that's going to be, because this is just one student, it's not multiple students, we no longer have the student pop-up. It's going to go right to individual task or group task, because those are the options on that timer, or maybe with an unexpected behavior or other. I don't think it has any options, so I'm going to click that. And right away, there we go. No pop-up, because we don't need that pop-up. And it's going to be able to track those things. Because all of the students, which is 1, have their on task timer running, that button is grayed out, but I still could also, for Sal, if it made sense, I could click that one. I could have 2 timers running for the same student. So it's very much, whatever you want it to be, and you can have that data and you can record that data. I'm going to go ahead and end that observation, and we're going to jump back over to the sheet, and I'll show you how to set up all of these other observations. Here we are back over to the sheet. Let's see that new information come through. Now I'm going to go back to the tab that's called Observation Data. There's the end of that one. Perfect. And all right, there's the Sal timers, the 2 timers, one for 33 seconds, one for 10 seconds, and that other behavior that happened at 10:50. So there's that. Now let's jump to upcoming observations. We tried to make it really simple to set up an observation, and here it is. It will take as many of these as you'd like, but you can see that we're going to ask you to put in observer name, the students. You can do multiple students, just have them comma separated, and it will, recognize that each of those students is its own student, and a little bit of descriptive information about what the observation is. The app, when you load the screen, is going to, if I were to refresh the page again, it would jump back to the Linus observation. It's going to load whatever in row 2. If you want a different one to pop in, there you go. I can click on 4, and now I can drag it. This is just a spreadsheet, so there's nothing unusual happening here. And now if I refresh that page, I'm going to go straight to the Arthur observation, and so we're going to have that there. Whatever's in row 2 is the one that's going to get loaded when the URL is loaded for the app. We might as well take a look. Again, I'm going to refresh that page, and it's going to record. One thing that I haven't said is that the session starts whenever the page loads. So you don't need to put in the time that the session is going to be in that sheet that we just looked at. It's just going to start and say the session began whenever the app is loaded, and then it's going to end whenever it's ending. So let's go ahead. Let's put in an unexpected behavior there for fee, and let's end that observation, because I want to show you back on the sheet the red and green rows, as we call them. Heading back over here, observation data again. Now the sheet is actually smart enough that if you had multiple different people running multiple observations at the same time, it would track that using the observation ID number. And you can see that it always, in this pattern, starts with a green and ends with a red. And so in that initial green row, that's the start. It gives the start date and the start time of the observation, and sort of all of that extra information that we had put on the upcoming observation sheet. And then when the observation ends in the red row, it's going to record how long the observation was for and for the data. And all of that is used when the reports are created. So let's go ahead. Let's run a report, actually. Why not? Let's run a report for, I'm going to run this Theodore one from July 9th, just because there's a little bit of extra, we wrote in something extra. I want to show you that whatever you record on these rows comes through in the report. So I'm going to come up here to reports, and I'm going to generate an observation report. And from these drop downs, you can populate, you can choose all three and really get very specific. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to look for a Theodore observation. You don't have to fill in all three if you don't want. I'm going to search for that, and it's going to come up with all the different times that Theodore was observed. The top one is July 10th. That was, we don't want that. Let's scroll down. Here's the July 7th observation. No, that's a July 10th observation again. Oh, I see. We got one on the row 15. And now here's that July 9th observation. So let's go ahead and let's generate that report. And it's going to kind of look through there. It's going to separate things into different tables, give you a little bit of a rundown. And this is just something that as you're typing up your IEP or your behavior report is going to be super helpful. So here we go. We have that observation report. All of your basic information is up top. And it's going to separate, all right, here are all the behavior events. 5 expected behaviors, 3 unexpected behaviors, all with their timestamps and their categories and their details, kind of in chronological order. If I scroll down a little bit, all right, a few more jumped onto page 2. That's great. Here's our timer data. So here we go, including the notes that we had and a little bit of information, including the duration, 18 minutes and 52 seconds on that timer for that observation. And then just so you have it again, here are all of the, both categories, the timers and the behaviors, all mixed together, chronologically sound in there. And that's a PDF, so you can download that, you can print it, you can send it off and use that however you want. Super helpful. All right, folks, we're almost done. I'm going to jump over one final time to this sheet because there's one tab that I haven't shown you, and it's going to look a little incomplete here in this video, but I think we're okay with that. This is just for if you need to change this into a different language, if you want to make this have your school colors on it. I'm on the instructions and customization tab. And here, there's a few different colors you can put in that you can change. You can put in, the hashtag color detail, or if you want to, like for the main app background, I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to delete that, and I'm going to use the fill paint bucket tool. And I think that this just deserves to be a really nice orange. It's going to look good. All right, and then all of the words that are seen in the app on the screen are all customizable. So on the timer buttons, for example, before the timer name, it has the word start. So I'm going to go ahead and let's change that to begin. Again, the reason that this exists is so you can change it into a different language if you want, or just to use language that works for what you're doing. We have all of the things. If in the title line, we have the singular and the plural, just to make sure that it is working for everybody. And all of our pop-up confirmations, we can change anything that's in there, but that's good enough. And I'm just going to go update theme. If you make it crazy and you kind of forget what some of these things are, you could always reset to default. But now it's updated. So let's go back over here and let's see if my orange, and let's see if it says begin and timer with those names. Here we go. Oh, look at that. So it came through, and it looks like our 2 changes did happen. And now the app is a little bit more exactly what we want it to be. So that's awesome. We hope that you find this to be really helpful. 3clickclassroom.com is where you can go to contact us, or to get more information, or to purchase more of these things if that's what you need. But we are hoping that this app works for you in your school and just makes your life a little bit easier as you're out there collecting data during these observations. Again, I'm Brian for the 3Click Classroom, and thank you so much for watching.